On O&P streets in Georgetown, what's old is new again. Using time-tested techniques, workers are painstakingly rebuilding the roadways with the original stones and streetcar tracks.
What's unique about this is that this is one of the oldest streets in the District of Columbia.
And the story of fixing O&P streets is old too, talked about for at least 20 years.
There's a lot of discussion about keeping the tracks or not keeping the tracks and how this was all going to get done.
The tracks were designed for streetcars a century ago, but more recently only automobiles have tried to balance on them to avoid the bumps and bruises that could befall anyone who braved the uneven surfaces.
The only thing I will miss is the challenge that we all face in keeping your car on the tracks when you're driving down here, right? That's the challenge, because if you're on the tracks, it's a pretty smooth ride. But just that one veer off and boom, off you go, and then it's the new axle on the car.
There's no doubt O&P are two of the more picturesque streets in Georgetown. But look more closely and you will see the patches that have held the roadways together for decades.
I don't think we need to justify the project. All we need to do is just do some eyeball research and look out there. And one will see the need.
But deciding how to fix O&P streets proved to be a very difficult task, with conflicting opinions and competing priorities. In the end, a compromise was struck between residents, preservationists, and the city. And in February of 2011, finally, the project broke ground.
Long awaited for 20 years and finally arrived.
The compromise that finally got the O&P Streets project rolling called for DDOT to do something completely unprecedented. Remove the streetcar tracks and other historic elements, including the granite street pavers and sidewalk bricks, restore them, and then reinstall them in the reconstructed roadways.
Brilliant to come up. I mean, it seems almost unbelievable that we have a plan drawn up by government that everybody loves. And we are thrilled.
For DDOT's project team, it was uncharted territory.
We don't know what is underneath. There are no drawings, there are no records.
The tracks on O&P streets are the last visible evidence of the district's citywide streetcar system, which operated until 1962. Besides a small section of conduit system streetcar track in London, they are believed to be the only surviving examples of this type of track system.
And isn't it ironic that as we talk about the tracks that remain, now we're bringing streetcars back to the District of Columbia, which I think is a very wise decision.
The old tracks will not carry the new streetcars, but they will serve as a link to the district's transit history. Some of that history was discovered buried beneath the surface of 36th Street between O&P.
The rail tracks were buried under the asphalt. When we removed the asphalt, we saw the tracks.
The tracks were removed and will be used as needed to reconstruct O&P streets until the blocks between Wisconsin Avenue and 35th Street are as good as new, or rather, as good and as smooth as they were when the clang of the streetcars was common in Georgetown.
Clang, clang, clang went the trolley. Ding, ding, ding.
For more information, please visit the project website at fixingonpstreets.com.
The moment I saw him, I fell. Chug, chug, chug went the motor.